Hello sea stars, welcome back to my panel. And immediately motorcycle. That was fun. Please excuse the mess. I'm just getting a few things cleaned up. I got back from the river a little while ago and we are going to be setting up my little altar space for the river. I told you guys I was going to keep you informed of this journey and you will be informed. We're going to be making this together. So for those of you who have seen my previous post, you can follow along here. I'm just gonna give a quick explanation of what's going on for those of you who are new and might not know while I get set up here. So I currently live in New York, and I live reasonably close to the Hudson River. And the Hudson River is currently under attack. A company called Holtec purchased the Indian Point nuclear power plant back in 2021, tried to use the Hudson River as a dumping ground for the leftover nuclear waste that was there, the titrated water that had been used to cool the nuclear fuel rods, which still contains nuclear waste. It was blocked in 2023, I believe, by the Save the Hudson Act, which was an act that was state-led by New Yorkers. And then recently, under this new administration, they got it turned over. Holtec got it turned over, saying that, it was up to the federal government to make the decisions of what happens at nuclear power plants. But New Yorkers and people from New Jersey still don't want nuclear waste in their river. And the river is pissed. So we are doing an offering for the river and a protection, fertility, blessing, rejuvenation, like all of those things we've been putting into the river and just raising awareness and raising eyes on the river to save it. I went to the river with a witchy friend of mine, and we got our hands dirty and we really dug down into the soil and we buried a particular sigil in the river. On the riverbed in the sand. So what I'm going to be showing you guys today is how to recreate that sigil at your altar. Now that that sigil is there, any sigil that you make recreating it is going to just boost and charge it. That's why anyone can do this. You don't have to live close to the Hudson. All you need is a bowl, and honestly, this bowl, it's about 2 palm lengths. It could be smaller if you want to work with something smaller. You don't even need to use a bowl. You could honestly draw it on a piece of paper. What I'm going to be doing, since I was fortunate enough to be able to collect river stones, is I will be creating the sigil in sand here and then setting up a little altar kind of area above it to give offerings of fresh blessed water and working with the river that way. So we currently have our beautiful bowl here, and I will be taking sand and just pouring the sand into the bowl. Sand. Oh, I have my kitty joining me too. Hi kitty, do you want to make some stuff for the river? Okay, this is not enough sand. Bear with me, I'm gonna go get more. You could actually recreate this with the dirt, but the Hudson does have a sandy bank. So because of that, I had sand to work with. This is kind of a strange bowl, obviously. This is all empty, or it's not filled. So I'm just patting it in up to the corners, and this is just purely for aesthetics. Yours does not have to look like this whatsoever. There we go. I just punched out so you can see that a lot better. All right, so we have our sand here. Now you guys know I love my sand grids, so that's why I'm doing it like this. You do not have to. I'm not going to do a spiral within this. At least I don't think I'm going to. No, I don't think I'm going to, because I really want the sigil to show, and I actually want this to be as flat as possible. This, for no other reason than it has a flat bottom. And with it, I'm just going to gently flatten. All right, I have all of my stones from the river over here. We're going to use that in a second. Right now, I want to light up some of my bundled rosemary here. I'm just gonna do a nice wafting. Nice cleansing and protection, because rosemary is great for both. What we're gonna do now is draw the sigil. If you forgot the sigil for reference, I will put it right here. somewhere on the screen so you can see what the sigil looks like and what we will be recreating. Again, you can use your finger, you could use a pencil, whatever you have available to you is totally fine. I have my trusty shell with me. I usually always use this if I'm at my home altar, so that's what I will be using for this today. And I like to start at the point of the sigil that makes like the curve of the 4, so where that little like indentation line is, leaving something up here so that I can put like a cup or something along those lines so I can give an offering daily for the sigil here. And don't worry if you do mess this up in the sand, that is the beauty of sand. You can shake it up and start over. We have our sigil, hopefully you can see that okay, because it is facing me. And now I collected all of these there's some bits of shell here, there's a few other things I collected today from the river. The sea glass as well, or river glass I guess you would call it at that point. So we have all of that to work with, and then I also have, as we were leaving the space, I found one of, dropped it. I found one of these. This is called, I'm so sorry, it's hard to see because I know the light is facing me. It's a little bit of an awkward like position. This is called a devil pod. It's also called a bat nut. There's a few other things for it. It's essentially a seed that has very heavy protective energies. So we will be using this as the anchor for our spell where we're going to be putting the pivotal kind of point on. And for me, that is the spiral. That is kind of what I made for this. So it will be going right, like the pivotal point of the spiral. And then from there, I will be building outward. So I'm kind of going in reverse to how I drew it. You guys can see this okay. Let me work a little bit slightly sideways so you can see a bit better. So I did like a little triangle shaped stone, and I did the 2 that lined up, and I found this, and it has like a tiny piece of metal in the center, and I think it's a really good representation of like man and nature. So I'm gonna put that at the point there. And for this, I'm working pretty intuitively with what I think fits into the sigil and into like the power of this. And if I collected more stones than necessary, what's going to happen is these stones I will be working with and then returning to the river. What I mean by working with stones will depend on the practitioner. Some people will actually like carry them around with them, have them absorb like the energy that they are putting out within their craft and then return them. Some people will cast specific healings and blessings over them and then return them. There's like a whole bunch of different things you could do. And so yeah, that is what my sigil looks like recreated in full stone. So you could leave this here. You could, if you didn't want to do everything in stone or you didn't have full stones, you could just recreate the main points of the sigil. There are 7 main points to this sigil. So it is right here, up here, down here, up here, up here, and right here. So this one is a little bit more fancy. It has the words of the petition that I originally wrote hidden within the sigil itself, which is another fantastic way to write your sigils or really like expand on them. I think the simpler version still does the thing because it is the petition just like made into sigil form. But just to show you the main points again, it's right here, up here, down here, up here, right here, down here, and right here in the center of the spiral. So you have all those main points to work with as well if you so choose. You could choose to even lay, and what I might actually do is I'm gonna get my little, I think I'm gonna do a shot glass just because it is easiest, and put it right here, and then I might lay the other stones like around it, as many as will fit. So let's see if that works next. Okay, so I went downstairs to find a glass that would work for this, and I ironically came across this one that says beach in the engraving, but then it says Lake George, New York. So I thought that was kind of funny, and I think it would be perfect for an offering for the river, actually. I think it looks good. like that. A little offering jar, and you can put water in there. You don't have to just put water in there if you don't have any, or you don't want to use water. If you would rather work with herbs, you could do that too. But the vision that my witch friend had was clear that the lake is not really into having fire burned in her honor, so you can stay away from any fire magic. Cute. I think that builds out nicely. And then for one final touch, like I said, fire was requested to not be burned, but I do happen to have water from the Hudson River that I collected way back in March, so quite a while ago. And we are going to, in really bad camera views because I'm right-handed. You can chant over this, you can sing over this, you can give another smoke offering, you can do a whole bunch of stuff with the sigil that you have here. The important thing is to really hold your intent for what you want to happen, which is to protect and raise awareness for the Hudson River. Or if you were doing this, so obviously my passion at this point and what the focus is on the Hudson River, but you can take this method and use it in a variety of different ways. I mean, this is very, very simple but very powerful magic. If there is a water cause that you are trying to raise awareness for in your hometown, then definitely feel free to adapt this. Create your own sigil to get eyes on your water source that needs protection, and start crafting with the water and start making these sigils and getting things pushed out, and contacting your local government officials as well to see what they can do, put pressure on them. And yeah, so I really, really hope that you guys are inspired by this to start your own thing as well. So I'll continue my work for the Hudson. And if you guys do recreate this and you decide to help me with this project, which I know the river would greatly appreciate, I would as well, feel free to tag me on my social media. I would love to see what your personal creations turn out as. They do not have to look like this whatsoever. This is just one method. If what you wanted to do was just draw the sigil on a piece of paper, put like a jar of water on top of it, and like put herbs inside the water that correspond with healing and fertility, because water is also an amplifier, so you could put this, you know, on top of that. And it could even be like, if you have a river near you, it could be that river water with this sigil. That's totally fine. Or any type of water that you have also works as well. And then you can put healing herbs and things like that, which I might actually do with this too, because I do still have a jar of those. And yes, you can add the healing to the water amplified with this sigil. That's a really good idea too. I have a little salt shaker full of herbs I made for the water today. I'm actually gonna grind them up first because I did not do that before I left. What I have in this mixture is rosemary, lavender, fennel seeds, and mugwort. But you really don't need a lot, just a little bit of the herb. And you can drop it into the water. And then it's up to you. You can leave it like that, or take your little, I have a little spoon here. You could take it, you could swirl it in. Water's merry, water's bright. I offer you my healing light. You know, something along those lines. You can make up your own chant, things like that. And now you have a working river altar. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Like I said, please tag me with your altars if you make something similar. I would absolutely love to see your creations, and I will see you in the next one. Bye, sea stars.